with that all in mind, you've been saying, let's maybe dive into the Raiders of the Lost Ark to start,
Yeah.
because that was the movie that started off everything. I didn't know this, but so Raiders of the Lost Ark was a Lucas film. Lucas made it. Right, he. I think from what I heard, had been thinking about the character for a while and thinking of writing the movie during the writings of A New Hope and I think even Empire Strikes Back. But when Raiders came out, it broke box office records and was, I think, the third highest grossing film, or third or fourth. It might have been the fourth, but it was within the likes of movies like A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and I believe at the time I think it was what is it? The Encounters of the Third Kind. What's Steven Spielberg's
Strange Encounters of the Third Kind with the Third Kind, yeah.
Yeah, that one. I think those were like four movies that were around the same. And if you look at it, like that's two of Lucasfilm's movies, and three, including Raiders, three of Spielberg's that he directed. So it's like, they really were dominating the market at that point in time, and basically just they couldn't miss when they were making movies. Like, they were just dominating the box office.
And let's just say this too, like when Spielberg and Lucas kind of collaborated on projects, they made good movies. Like, I know he didn't directly direct any of the Star Wars movies, but Spielberg had a lot of input. He was a consultant on a lot of the Star Wars stuff too. So
yeah,
and I actually have that pulled up for Raiders right here. Raiders made $389.9 million at the box office.
Mm-hmm. And I think
back in 1981, that was a lot of
50.
20
they
million.
only had a budget of 50 or 20 million. Okay, I knew it.
Yeah, I have it right up there.
I knew it was small because I mean it was in the 70s, late 80s.
81.
Early 80s. I mean, 81.
Came out in 1981. Yeah. So production was late 70s.
Yeah.
And actually, this podcast episode is actually going up on the anniversary of Raiders. Because Raiders released on June 12th, 1981.
We are on point here. We weren't even supposed to be talking about Indiana Jones this week, and here we are talking about it. And the podcast.
We reshuffled our schedule, and I just looked at them like, that's
crazy.
Perfect.
That's perfect timing. We need to advertise it like that. Be like, hey, this is in honor of Indiana Jones. The series, just the character of Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. So with all that in mind, I guess let's dive into the movie and I guess talk about that briefly. We, as we discussed, this takes place in 1936, and basically the point of the movie is that Indiana Jones has to stop the Nazis from finding the Ark of the Covenant.
And like you said, I know I've heard a lot of people point this out before too. I think you mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Like, technically, if you really think about it, Indiana Jones didn't really affect the plot of the story, or didn't really affect the story that much. He was just there.
I really think that the only thing about the movie, and the only part about it that would be bad, if this movie were to not have Indiana Jones in it, not if those events were to happen without Indiana Jones being a part of it, the only thing I think that would happen bad is that, what was her name, Marion, right?
Mm-hmm.
The girl, she would have died. She just would have died because the Nazis would have killed her in finding the amulet. But see, the thing is, like, the way the events would have played out would have been different, but the end result would have been the same. Like, the Nazis, yes, they would have gotten the amulet, and yes, they would have seen the backside of it, which they didn't have in the the first half in the original draft of the movie, or in the final draft of the movie, I guess is what it is. But they didn't have the back of it, but in this they would be, and they would have killed Marion. They would have taken that. They would have found the Ark, gotten to it a lot quicker, and
the same thing would have happened.
And the same thing would have happened. Indiana Jones wouldn't have been there. Now I did hear someone say that it actually might have been better if Indiana Jones wasn't there, because what would have happened might have been the Nazis who were there to begin with would have gone in, opened the Ark of the Covenant, and been like, "Hey, they're all dead. Let's go take another wave of people back there," and they would like slowly just started killing off the Nazis because they keep going back to try to figure it out. I don't know if that necessarily would happen, but all in all, like if you look at the movie, as good of a movie as it is, if you take Indiana Jones out of it, the end result does not change, because it's the Ark of the Covenant, like we were talking about it, like when I watched it a couple weeks ago, I mentioned it on the podcast. We talked about it a little bit. And, the logic of the movie doesn't really... Okay, what they say and what actually happens in the movie don't hold up, because at the beginning of the movie, they say they have to stop the Nazis because any army that has the Ark of the Covenant is, unstoppable, when in truth, it's only if they're on God's side or not, would be the way if, that they would have, be unstoppable, which shows true at the end of the movie. They can't just, mess around with the Ark as they please, because it's, a supernatural power, and it's not in their favor. So they end up dying. Which, would have happened whether Indiana Jones was there or not. So.
Now, but aside from that, like, Indiana Jones, like, I don't think really any of them have, super intricate plots. Because they're really just fun action movies. Well,
maybe not Temple of Doom, but
yeah. But like I said, even though Raiders doesn't, if you break it down too much, you can say that, but still, it's a really fun movie to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think
it is.
I think pretty much all of them are fun, or like at least fun movies to watch, whether or not the story holds up too much.